And I'm just going to literally throw the helmet on. Oh, there it is. Throwing the helmet on. It is a beautiful Saturday evening. Supercross, the Seattle round, is about to come on, and I just installed a new mailbox. 2 home updates. This is how I'm able to ride. I do chores around the house, and then when it's time to ride, I can ride. Here's my old mailbox. I don't know if you could see that, but this is a 20-plus-year-old mailbox. The hole needs to be a little deeper, but instead of using concrete, I used foam, and this is my new mailbox. I put this in this morning, and you know, not shabby for somebody who doesn't know what the hell they're doing, right? And I use this foam stuff, so it's not super as stable as I want it to be, but we'll see how that goes. I can always redo it. Also, back there, you remember those trees? Well, you see how they look now? I cut a majority of those trees back. It's still not perfect, and I really wanted to cut them all like kind of just across the top, but my neighbor was freaking out, so I stopped there. Even though I talked with him all about this before I started, but you know, they're older. I love them, and I don't want to upset them, so she was fine with it. She wanted me to cut more down, but Mr. was like, I don't want to say he was mad, but he just didn't seem thrilled. So my hedge project is done. My mailbox project is done. And now I am about to hop on the Moto Guzzi for a quick ride just to update everyone on this really amazing bike, man. Just like I grow to love it more each time I ride it. I even like the way it starts. Just take a listen to how this bad boy starts. And I'm sorry for my messy garage and surroundings, but just listen to how it starts. Kind of sounds like you're cranking a rotary airplane or something. Listen. You hear that? It's like you can almost feel yourself spinning the propeller, and it just catches fire. And I just love that about it. It's got that nice little vibration, that little pulsing that, you know, that just is so addictive and so wonderful about it. So V85 Strada 2025 model. I've had it for a little over, has it been a month? 2 months? A couple of months? I know it's got not quite 2,000 miles on the odometer yet, but I'm going to give you my thoughts on what this bike has been like up until now and some of the things I've learned about it. As you can see, I've got the Moto Guard engine guards on there. That's really the only mod I've done to this bike. That, and I cut these little reflector arms. They were way down here, so I cut those off and just stuck the reflectors to the thing. That's as tail tidy as this bike's gonna get, because I did not buy this bike to mod it or change it or make it louder. I love the way it sounds stock, and I've never said that about a stock bike before, except for the GSX-S 1000. The GSX-S 1000 has a great stock sound because of the intake. But this one has a great stock sound also, and it's got a nice intake noise, but it also just has a nice crispy kind of burble to it. You know, that's the only way I could describe it. It's a crispy burble, and it's kind of lopsided how it idles. It doesn't idle perfect. I hear some guys wanting to install this and install that to smooth out the idle. I love the way it idles. If you're into horsepower, this is not your bike, because this bike only makes 80 horsepower. But I say only in the way that it's plenty for this machine. For what this machine is designed to do, which is make you smile, that's all you need. Seriously. I did have someone in the comments of one of my recent videos ask me if it's a good bike for beginners. I would say no, this is not a good beginner bike for a couple of reasons. One reason the V85 Strada is not a good beginner bike is because it's tall. Now you can look up the specs on this bike because I don't have them all memorized, but when I put my feet to the ground, and I have a 30-inch inseam, I am not quite on my tippy toes like I was out in California on Darren's GS 1200. That bike I was on my tippy toes a lot. I felt like a ballerina on that thing. This is not quite that. It's not quite that. Your feet are a bit more planted. I'm 5'9", 30-inch inseam. If you're any shorter than that, like if you're 5'8" or 5'7", this bike is going to be a handful for you because it's going to be pretty tall. So I don't think it makes a good beginner bike for that reason. It's a tall bike. It's also, oh shit. It's also not super light. You know, it's not super heavy either, but it's not a light flickable bike when you're not moving. When you're like turning around in a parking lot, or when you're taking it off the kickstand, backing it out of the driveway, it's a bit heavy. And if you combine that with, you know, being somewhat on your tippy toes, you know, you got to be careful, because this bike, I could see this bike being kind of easy to drop. So the height, the weight, also I say it only has 80 horsepower, but this bike is like super torquey. This bike is super torquey, and it's got that was Fetty Fetty on the four-wheeler. But I say it only has 80 horsepower, but this only 80 horsepower is like, it's pretty substantial at low speeds. I knew it. Watch. Watch. This is Fetty SS, I believe his name is, on Instagram. He is a local four-wheel guy, and he knows this street, man. He knows it. He's up and down this street all the time. I see him quite often. I think he just had a big crash too. I'll have to check with him. He's a beast. Alright, bro. Thank you, Mr. Fetty. But anyway, what I was saying was the bike is got some pretty good torque for it only having 80 horsepower. I mean, you know, it will take off on you. If you're new to riding and you don't have like your throttle hand is not in control and coordinated with your clutch hand and your eyes and everything, this is one of those kind of bikes that you'll let out the clutch and it will go, it'll be gone on you if you don't know, if you're not 100% comfortable with riding. So I would say skip this as a beginner bike. That was a long way around to say. There's other bikes that you can get for beginner bikes, like, you know, I would probably say you'd be better off with a Ninja 400 or a CB 500 or a KTM 390 or something like that, something that's lower to the ground and not a giant 850cc giant twin motor for you to have to wrestle with. So think that route, and when you're thinking about this bike, just think a bike for a distinguished rider who's been doing it all. You've done track days, you've done, you know, mountain blasting for years and years, and you're just, you know, you're like, you're just ready for some chill time, you know, and you want to get on a bike that's comfortable, that's fun. This is the bike you want. I'm just telling you, it's so enjoyable to feel the way it feels when it turns in, and the position of the hands on the handlebars, and the feeling that vibrating, rumbling feeling that twin motor gives you. This air-cooled twin motor, 853 cc's. It's great, man. Now, one of the things that I've kind of bummed about, but at the same time, am I really bummed about it? Because, I mean, I'm of a certain age, and do I really need to be doing wheelies anymore? I mean, I'd love to be doing wheelies, but this bike is not a wheelie bike. I could clutch it up and get it to come off the ground, but it's a tremendous amount of clutch, throttle, and yank to get this front wheel off the ground. And because it's got a drive shaft, I just feel like that is just destroying the drivetrain. So I really don't feel too comfortable, and it doesn't have the torque to just lift the front end up just on power alone. Maybe in first gear, if you really wailed on it, it would do it, but you know, this bike is not designed for that. It's not designed for total hooligan stuff, but surprisingly, it can do these turns like this all day long. Now, I took the stock tires off. I think I mentioned that in another video. I'm not sure when I talked about this bike last, because I've been doing a lot of that California footage, but I did take the stock dual sport tires off this, and I put on some Angel GTs by my wonderful folks at Pirelli, and oh my goodness, when I tell you, this bike handles so well with the Angel GTs, so much better than stock. They have a much better profile, a much more turn-friendly profile. It's a smoother ride. It's just fantastic, man, what the Angel GTs do for your handling. So I'd say if you get one of these Stradas, and mind you, the V85 Strada is the most street-going version of the V85 series. I've explained that numerous times in past videos, and that's what I wanted. This is the lightest of the V85 series. Wow, look, somebody just said, fuck it, I'm gonna dump my tires here. Assholes. Hate people sometimes, man. I pay $5 a tire to dump my old motorcycle tires legally, and then somebody just dumps a bunch of car tires right there on the side of the road. Beautiful road, tires piled up. Why, bro? Why? Oh, there's a bike trail here. Yeah, so the Angel GTs are just a major improvement. The bike handles so well, and it's just a wonderful thing to experience riding this bike. It does not, or has not, changed at all for me, the feeling I get. I do realize I can't wheelie, and if I was a real wheelie beast, I could, because I know those guys over in Brazil can wheelie anything. And I know the guys on the big Harleys can, if you can wheelie a Dynaglide, you can wheelie this. I'm sure you can. I'm just not going to do it. You know, I want this machine to last me for a while. Ooh, I would go up in there, but ooh, should we go up in there? Let's see if we can. I just want to turn around, but it's real steep. Again, this bike is heavy as shit. So you got to be careful doing stuff like that. Can we go up in here? Ooh, we fit. You want to try? Yeah, let's try. Fuck it. We fit. Oh my gosh, we fit. We're now off-roading. Oh, this will be a nice place to take some shots. So here we are on the Strada, doing what it can kind of do. It can off-road. It needs a skid plate, and it probably needs more dual sporty tires like what it came with, if you're going to be doing a lot of this. Now this is a big rock because I'm in Lithonia. I'm in Stonecrest, and Stonecrest has a giant, like, is it granite? It's not granite, it's some type of stone. Ooh, I'm gonna take a picture right here. It's some type of stone that is all under Stonecrest, hence the name Stonecrest. And you know, you've got to, our pool company, when they put our pool in, they said, hey, we're going to check and do a survey and make sure, because if we hit rock, we're not going to be able to put your pool in. Like, it's like that. This rock is, it's like veins of it that go all throughout underneath where I live. But wow, what a beautiful shot, man. Wow. Wish I could get one with me in it. But the problem is always the same. There's never anywhere to put my phone. Sometimes I'll build a little clever phone holding contraption. Yeah, that might work. Let's reverse it. There I am. Hello, me. I forgot where I left off. So obviously you can off-road with this bike, but you know, this doesn't come with a skid plate. The Adventure comes with a skid plate, which covers all the bottom of the engine there. And you really want that if you're going to be doing off-roading, a lot of it. But this is the lightest of the three, and it's the most street-going version of the three. And that's why I picked it, because I'm really going to be doing mostly road riding on this, and twisties, and exploring the Blue Ridge Parkway, and just exploring, you know, and mostly by paved road and not by unpaved road, because I just don't explore by unpaved road too often. But every once in a while I will get off on the unpaved road, and when I do, Strada's ready with that. Like I said, once I get that plate, the skid plate and center stand. I ordered a skid plate. It was coming from somewhere in China, I guess, and they canceled it. Yeah, they said, it was the first time I've ever heard Amazon say your order may be lost. So they're like, if you want a refund, let us know and we'll put it back on the cart that you ordered. I'm now standing up as I descend down this hill, which is a very beautiful hill. Oh wow, look at those flowers. I should have took the picture right here, damn it. Oh well. So the skid plate, I'm getting the money back for that, which was like $120 or something, I think. And it was coming from China, so I will reorder it. I saw this place in San Diego where you can order stuff for this bike, like skid plates, center stands, whatnot. It might cost you a hair more than dealing with the stuff out of China, but I'm okay with that. You know, we got to be okay with that nowadays, right? I mean, stuff is going to cost more. It's time to just accept that fact. But I think it's only going to be temporary. So, yeah, I've had nothing but good luck with this bike. It's been extremely enjoyable to deal with. I did the first service myself, which I did not film, but I will next time, because checking the valves was like one of the easiest things I've ever done on a motorcycle. It was so easy, and that's one thing I love about this bike is the fact that I can do the maintenance on my own. You know, I can do my own maintenance. So first service was done at a cost of nothing as far as labor, and I did have to buy a quart or a couple of quarts of oil for the engine, and then a separate quart of oil for the transmission and the rear end, because the transmission and rear end take gear oil where the engine takes engine oil. which is really cool. So if you ever need to change oil in this thing, you're way out in the middle of nowhere, you don't even need motorcycle oil. You can change your engine oil with car, or if you're low, you could grab you some 10W or 20W50 or whatever it is. I forgot the weight, but you know, it's average 10W50, something like that, and top yourself off, and you'll be ready to rock and roll with no problem. And that's another thing I love about this bike. You know, you don't need to buy a lot of highly specialized things to deal with it. Parts, I don't know what parts may or may not be needed, but I haven't needed anything. This bike borrows quite a bit of stuff from various Aprilias in the past. Like these mirrors are Aprilia mirrors. These are Tuono mirrors. I know because I have a set in my garage from my Tuono. This is Aprilia switch gear right here from the Tuono also, I believe. These levers are Aprilia levers, or Tuono, because the same factory in Noale, is it off the shores of Lake Como, make this bike, and the same factory makes the Tuono. So they borrow a lot of parts from each other. And another part that is very common, that will bring back memories for a lot of you that are older and have been following Aprilia, are the tail lights on this bike. The tail lights are those two circular tail lights that used to come on the RSV Miele and the original Gen 1 Tuono, and they're like circular. I'll get off and let you take a look real quick, because that was something that when I first saw this bike, it kind of gave me, I want to say chills, because that's not what it did, but it just made me happy to see these taillights. And I will show you now without turning off the bike. You see that? See those taillights? If you look at a 2003 RSV Miele, or a 2003 Aprilia Tuono, or a 2004, you will see those circular taillights. Again, borrowed from Aprilia. So this bike has just a lot of Aprilia blood flowing through its veins. The DNA is very similar, and that's what I love about this bike. It's like a hybrid of a cruiser and a badass Aprilia, in my opinion. And it's got the same character as an Aprilia Tuono. It does. These Italian bikes, they're special, and they feel special, in my opinion. Now, I don't know about Ducati, because I'm not a huge Ducati fan, and I haven't ridden a whole lot of Ducatis, but if they're anything like Aprilias, I get why people want to ride those and want to own those. Is because they make you feel good when you ride, you know, and that's what this bike does. So I would say after a couple of months I've owned it, it has been nothing short of just complete joyfulness. I have accepted its shortcomings. No, it will not do wheelies, and no, it will not beat a 600 Super Sport in any gear at any point. But that's okay. That's not what I bought it for. What it will do is it gives you a wonderful pulsing, torquey-like feel like this. I love that. And the bike rises and falls as it's thrusting you forward. The intake sound on this bike is wonderful. I mean, what I've learned is you can lug this bike down low and keep the RPMs lower, and the bike is happier that way. It's happier lugging down low than trying to rev out. Since its red line is like 8,000 RPMs or something like that. So another thing on this bike, you'll learn to ride it calmer. You know, you ride it lower, like this. It'll still carry your corner speed, but it doesn't need to be spastic when you ride this bike. This bike rewards smooth. Be calm, be smooth, and this bike will reward you all day. And that's what I like about it. I'm in a smooth, calm point of my life, and this bike rewards that. So if you want a bike that handles freaking amazing, and you're not buying it for wide open top end speed and racing with 650 EVE on the freeway, but you just want a nice, thrilling, comfortable, fun ride, you just can't go wrong with this machine. Sorry, I couldn't stay behind you. You can't go wrong with this machine, and that's it. You know. Will everybody love it like I do? Probably not. I mean, I could see where people would be like, oh, it sucked, or oh, it's slow, or oh, it's heavy. I know it's all those things, but I like the fact that it's those things, you know. The insurance cost on this bike is super low. From my MT-09 to this, it went down considerably. It's like $300 for 6 months, I think. But my insurance went down quite a bit. The cost of tires, to get the tires, is about the same, but the tires will last so much longer on this bike. 10,000 miles, I've heard reports of tires lasting, you know, before you need to think about changing any of them. And one guy said it was only his rear that needed changing after that. So the cost of tires is going to just be wonderful, and not having to think about putting new tires on this thing every 2 months like the Tuono. You know, I used to do this kind of riding on the Tuono, but it's not practical, because the Tuono eats tires and it eats gas. You know, this bike, 250 miles plus on a 6-gallon tank of gas. You don't have to think about gas like all day for the most part. Your seat is super comfortable. My ass is never sore. And, well, I take that back. Towards the end of the day, I start getting a little antsy, and I have to stand up and like, kind of get some pressure off my tailbone. But I think that's just a me thing and not this bike. I've got like just a weirdly shaped tailbone. But yeah, the cost of parts accessibility, no problem. Tires, less money. Insurance, less money. I mean, and I just enjoy riding this more than the MT-09. That's all there is to it. You know, it's like when I get on this bike, I just feel happy. And I think the whole point of having a motorcycle is you want to feel the joy of riding it, and you want to feel excited and happy that you're riding, you know. And the MT-09 was fun, but it just was like, I have a Tuono that does this better. I think I've said that before. So this bike was just the perfect answer for me where I'm at right now. It doesn't do everything, but it does enough to keep me happy. And it actually will probably keep me out of trouble, because if I got a KTM 690 Supermoto, which I was gonna get, those kind of bikes will get you sent straight to jail, honestly. Like a KTM 690, what do you think the first thing I'm going to do on that bike? Wheelie it. Wheelie the damn thing. And what sense does that make? To be wheeling and get pulled over, and because I'm not going to run it from the cops, and then there goes my license. There goes my damn license. So the fact that this won't wheelie is actually probably going to save me money and save me drama. But it'll hang with the sport bikes and the technical twisties. Like when the twisties get real, when they get technical and it's not about speed, got it up to 120. I think this bike will do maybe 125, 126 fully wide open. It might hit 130 downhill, but that's all I need, man. And the joy is not going 120, the joy is getting there. That's where the fun part is. So anyway, all said and done, after all these weeks of owning this bike and getting the service done and swapping out the tires and doing a couple of rides, breaking it in, all the stuff, and having about 2,000 miles on it, I can say so far I'm super happy. I've not had one problem. I saw another video of a guy who had, you know, take it back because he was, or not take it back, but he had to bring his to service a couple of times because he was getting error messages and, you know, something was loose and I don't know. He was just having problems, and I know how that is, but I have not had anything like that with mine. I did have to take the battery loose to get the air cleaner or the air filter. When you clean the air filter on this, you have to take the battery off or else you can't get to the air filter. And when it was unconnected for a little while, I reconnected the battery, and then when I went to start the bike the next day, it like the dash didn't light up, and it was just freaking out. And it started, but with nothing on the dash and like this really sick sounding idle, and I was like, oh my god, am I having a problem? So, you know, I know these things, ECUs are real sensitive when you disconnect them and do stuff like that. So I just disconnected the negative from the battery for like 10 seconds, reconnected it. The dashboard like flashed real quick, and fucking bird just committing suicide. And then when I turned the key back on, there was the dash lit up. It started up completely normal, and it's been running fine ever since. So that's the only thing that resembled a problem. No quick shifter, no auto blipper, no problem. See how this thing just so fun, man. I can't wait to take it to the Dragon. This is the kind of bike where you can surprise people on it for sure, you know? You can surprise people and they'll be like, what the hell? And that's what I plan on doing this year. So look forward to seeing videos of people saying, what the hell? I'm hoping that that's the way it goes. Like some ground clearance issues and that I'm still trying to figure out as far as the pegs on this thing being a little high up or a little low down. But you know, if you ride your bike the right way, it's not a problem. And I'm just going to have to keep the bike a little more up and down as I'm cornering. But it just slices anything that resembles a turn. This bike just dissects it with ease. So for that reason, I give this bike 2 thumbs up. Ant-Man Moto approved. I absolutely love this machine. It makes me happy, and it makes me, you know, glad that I made the move I made to get it, because it was a feeling that I had after riding this bike a bunch last year. And I'm glad that I can say a couple of months into it, 2,000 miles into it, I don't regret that decision, because by now if it was a bad move, I would know it. These left turns in this city are very dramatic. Like, we still don't know what lane this person is. But 2,000 miles into it, and yeah, it's all good. So we'll see. The weather's going to be warming up. The riding's going to be warming up. You know, and I am not going to be in a position where I can necessarily chase the group I ride with and be in the mix with them every time, because the bike is just, you know, hey, it's underpowered, which I'm totally okay with. But there'll be a lot of chances where I will be able to be right there in the mix, and those are going to be the good videos. So stay tuned, and thank you for watching Ant-Man Moto. Like, subscribe if you would like, and I just appreciate any of the views or any of the feedback that I get. I have a micro channel, and I'm kind of proud of the fact that my channel is like only a select few really high quality people know about it. So, you know, others may laugh, but I'm okay with it. So I'm enjoying this, and I hope you are too. And here we are back at the humble abode. That was a little quick evening spin. That's what my little evening rides are like. And like I said, what I used to do is I used to do those kind of rides on the Tuono. Can you imagine that? You've got your special edition Tuono. Come on, garage. And granted, it was very enjoyable, but I'm like, good Lord, I'm going to have 50 million miles on this thing if I don't get something else I can ride. And that's where the MT-09 came in. But then I was like, discovered this, and so here we are, putting the miles in on the Guzzi. And this will be the bike that the miles get put in on. So if you have any questions about this bike, or you're interested in purchasing one and you have concerns or any questions, feel free to message me. You can find me on Instagram under Ant-Man Moto, one word, or here at YouTube, and you could DM me and I will answer any questions you have. Very easy. There's the, is that the fill port? That's the fill port for the drain tube. I mean, for the transmission. That's the drain plug. Here's the fill plug for the rear end, and a drain plug is there. And the engine just has a regular drain plug at the bottom. And it fills up from somewhere. I think the other side. Yeah. It's got the engine oil on the other side. Where the hell is the engine oil? No, the engine oil is, yeah, engine oil is down here on the left side below the engine. It's the filler cap. And yeah, you take your seat off with the key right back here in the back under the tail lights. That's the key hole. And I had Brian Livingood set up my suspension. That's what those little orange dots are. He's measured everything and bounced it with me on it and adjusted the sag and all that stuff. So, and he said he loved the suspension, the way the stock suspension felt. He took it for a ride. He was like, oh man, this thing is butter. That's what these red marks are here. Those are from Brian. So it's been great, man. I will report back to you from time to time periodically, and I hope to see you out there on the twisties. Peace, and take care of each other, but more importantly, take care of yourselves. This is Ant-Man Moto. All right, I'm out.